Hari Om, everybody. If you can see and hear me, please raise your hand. Okay. If you can, you can lower your hands, everybody. Lower all hands. Okay, fine. So yes, let's get started. I hope everybody is ready. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Ya Kundendu Tushara Dhavala Ya Shubhra Vastravrita Ya Veena Varadanda Manditakara Ya Shveta Padmasana Ya Brahmachyuta Shankara Prabhritibhir Devais Sada Vandita Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati Nishesha Jadyapaha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenaksharasamaamnaya madhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha ajnanandhasya lokasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai paninaye namaha. My pranams to all of you. Welcome. Good morning. And to those of you tuning in on relay in different places in the world, good afternoon, good evening. I hope nobody is watching this webinar as their lullaby. But if you are, that's also good. Some good Shravana Sanskara will happen for you. So my pranams to Pujya Swami Advayananda ji, who is the resident Acharya here in the Chinmaya International Foundation, by whose blessings, of course, this webinar could happen. And also by whose inspiration and by whose teaching I have learned so much in my life. He was also the resident Acharya, the resident teacher in the school that I studied at in Coimbatore long time ago. When I was in 5th grade, I studied at the Chinmaya International Residential School. And and he was the resident brahmachari there. So at that time we used to call him Bhaiya. And so I was 9 years old at the time, and he used to teach me lots of little things, and he was very good at table tennis also. And then we didn't meet again for 12 years. Then I came to visit here at Chinmaya International Foundation, and then suddenly we met again. And again, there was that memory of a bond that we had shared a long time ago. And so by this time, I was very different, and he had also become a sannyasi by this time, and his name was now Swami Advayananda ji. And so by his encouragement, inspiration, by his immense faith in me as a student and as a scholar, I was able to complete my PhD and finally come here to join as a faculty here. So my pranams to him. Also this week I have an announcement. For those of you who who are interested and can spare the time, there is a summer school that happens here every year. And Srijiti, do you have the flyer for that summer school? If you can just share it on the screen real quick, then I can just talk about it for 1 second before we move on. If you don't have it, that's okay. Otherwise, I'll just talk about it. So there is one, I think it was just there in the folder you were just in. Yeah, there, bottom one. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yes. Yeah, I should share this. Vyasa Valmiki Kalidasa. Or just the picture, not the, yeah, just the, you can just remove that. Fine, there you go. Okay. So as long as Srijitji shares this for 1 minute or so, then it'll be in the video, so you can all take it from there when you need to. So every year, the Chinmaya International Foundation holds a summer school. And it's a 2-week-long, very fun and very intense program where they take up some topic and they cover it in depth. And the teachers who come are always world-renowned teachers. And this year, we have one, our summer school is called Vyasa Valmiki Kalidasa. And it is an inquiry into the ancient poets. Valmiki, who's the first poet, so-called as the Adi Kavi, and he's the one who wrote the Ramayana. Vyasa, who is extremely famous for writing a million things, but famously wrote the Mahabharata also. And Kalidasa, who's one of the greatest poets of all time, who wrote many blockbuster hits in his time. And so this summer school will actually be diving into the works of these great poets, and through them learning about Indian history, through them learning about Indian art and the expression of art, and it's being run by someone called as Shatavadhani Ganesh, who is an extremely famous scholar who is what's known as a Shatavadhani. Shatavadhani is somebody who can perform, what you call is who can perform 100 tasks simultaneously. So this is an art form, an ancient Indian art form, where somebody sits in like a hall, and there are 100 people that surround him like this. And they all ask him questions simultaneously. And they all have very different things that they ask. Somebody will say, write a Sanskrit poem beginning with the letter Ka. And so he starts, and make it on this particular subject. And so he starts thinking, okay, Ka, something. And then he's like, and you also cannot use the letters Va and Bha. And so he has to like create this thing. And at the same time, the next person says, okay, now you must also write a poem that can be read forwards and backwards. And it should be able to give us meaning, both forwards and backwards. And then the third person will be ringing a bell like this to distract him. And then at the end, he'll say, now tell me, how many times did I ring the bell? Like that. So it'll go on and on and on. And there's 100 such people who are doing these kind of things. And so a Shatavadhani, Shata means 100, and Avadhana means attention. So it's someone who can give attention in 100 places at the same time. Someone who is able to do this for 100 people is called a Shatavadhani. And it is a crazy task, a crazy feat. So this person is a person who has mastered the art of Shatavadhanam. And so there's something called Ashtavadhani as well, which means you can do this for 8 people. And there's different levels of Avadhanam. But this person is a Shatavadhani, which is, I think, the maximum that we know of today. So this scholar, Shatavadhani Ganeshji, is like really, really unbelievably knowledgeable and amazing. And so he's the one who will be teaching this. And of course, there will be lots of cultural programs and shows and opportunity for people to get involved. So if you want to know more, then you can always go to the Chinfo website and sign up there, and you can learn more there also. So please do sign up and everything if you have the chance. So this is going on from June 17th to June 26th this year. So if you sign up now, then that'll be good, and you can make your program and all that stuff. So okay, I think that's enough about that. Let's get started. All right. Previously on Sanskrit webinar, we saw the birth of our dhatus. Can you actually just tell them to stay? Okay. Okay, so we saw the birth of our dhatus. And our dhatus are the roots of our language. Then we cleaned them up. And after cleaning them up, through our itsanya procedure, we also put makeup on them, dressed them up through our satvadi chatvari karyani procedure. And once that was done, our dhatus became totally ready. And once our dhatus were totally ready, we asked the question, so what do we do with these prepared dhatus, with these prepared roots? You cannot use them in speech. A prepared dhatu is not something that you can say in speech because it's not connected to any tense, it's not connected to any mood. And so we saw that the tenses and moods of Sanskrit are in the form of these 10 lakaras. And we saw the 10 lakaras last time and their meanings. Then we saw this broad overview of a dhatu attaching to a suffix or attaching to a pratyaya. And so now Srijitji, if you can share my screen real quick, then I will continue from where we left off. And actually, when I say continue from where we left off, what I mean is that we will take another look at where we were. Because previously I explained the broad overview, and I got us all the way to the point of seeing all of the various suffixes that attach to the dhatus for our 4 tenses and moods that we're going to study in this course, in this level 1 course. But now I think it's time for us to come back and take another look at it from the beginning with a little more depth. And when I say depth, what I mean is it's time for us to look at some sutras. When we don't look at sutras, then everything feels a little bit incomplete. Because remember, in Panini's Shastra, the proof for every action that you take, everything that you know, is a sutra. The proof will always be in the form of a sutra. So if somebody asks, how do you do this? Or how can you say that this is what you have to do now? Then the answer will always be in the form of a sutra. Oh, I can say that we have to do this now because the sutra Upadeshe Anunasika, it says that you have to do this task. So, and no other sutras apply at this time, or out of these 2 sutras, this sutra applies at this time using various logics, and so on and so on. So when you see a sutra, then you know that you have the proof for the task at hand. Then you know that you have the proof for what it is you have to do. And now again, today we will see just how close Panini's software is to computer programming because of the way in which he writes his lines of code. So that we will see today also. So now in this picture here we have the same thing what we saw last week, but this time it's filled in a slightly different way. There are 2 types of prakriti, we saw this before. One is called a dhatu, and prakriti means your like root, the root of a word. So the 2 types of prakriti, one is called a dhatu. Dhatu is your verbal root, and one is called a pratipadika, which is your nominal stem. So one is for verbs, one is for nouns. In this course, we're looking at verbs more deeply. Remember that we talked about how verbs are the essence of our universe. Kriya is the nature of the entire universe. And therefore, to study dhatus first, which is not normally done in Sanskrit grammar, is essential in order for us to really understand the language. So if we want to really be panditas, really great scholars of Sanskrit, then we need to first know how dhatus function. Then we can move on to the pratipadikas. So remember that we have 4 types of pratyayas that attach to dhatus. There are 4 types of suffixes to dhatus, or 4 types of affixes. It's also called an affix. Sometimes it's not exactly a suffix. It doesn't always just come at the very end. Sometimes it also enters into the middle of a dhatu. So that's why let's not call them suffixes, but let's call them affixes when we talk about it in in English. Or alternatively, we just talk about it in Sanskrit and call it as a pratyaya. So maybe from now on, I'll try only to say pratyaya, but it's really hard because I realize sometimes just hearing the word doesn't make the meaning flash in your head. So that's why I'm making that association as we go along. So I just say pratyaya or suffix or affix. So there's 4 types that attach to a dhatu. The first type we saw was sanadi. Those sanadi pratyayas are the pratyayas that make a new dhatu. So remember, once a sanadi pratyaya attaches to a dhatu, then we come back here because a dhatu has been formed again. And we saw the sutra for that was sanadyanta dhatavaha. Then we have a vikaranam, which we will be talking about today. Then we have ting pratyayas, which we discussed in detail last time. So let me bring us back to that slide. Here are all the ting pratyayas. All of these pratyayas, let me circle the actual pratyayas here. And then these. And then these. And these. These are all the different suffixes that attach to a dhatu in order to make it available for use in the daily world. So when you have this first set here at the top is the set of pratyayas for lat lakara. Lat lakara is present tense. So you have ti at the top left there. This little one is ti. That is the suffix to express any dhatu in the present tense, which is lat lakara. Present tense, first person, in Sanskrit, prathama purusha, but in English, third person, ekavachanam, which means singular. So it is the present tense, third person, singular suffix. And when you attach this suffix to any dhatu, then the form that you get at the end is its present tense, third person, singular form. So for example, you have the dhatu ni. Ni is the example that's given in that dhatu patha book. So if you turn it to page 12, I believe, you have all of the different forms of these with the dhatu ni. So you mix ni with ti. Ni means to lead or to carry. When you mix ni with ti, then eventually what you're going to get is nayati. Now we're going to start seeing those final forms. So that's quite cool. I like this stage of the teaching when you finally start seeing the final forms, because finally you're like, oh my gosh, something fruitful has happened for the last 10 weeks. So here we have ni plus ti will eventually make nayati. Nayati. Now the process that goes from ni plus ti to nayati is exactly the process of Sanskrit grammar. That's exactly what we have to learn. On the one hand, if we know this process, then we can go forward from an original dhatu to its final form and then speak in the world. And on the other hand, we can also go backwards. We can break it apart and come back to ni plus ti when we read something. So in this way, we can speak, we can express ourselves in Sanskrit, and we can also decode Sanskrit when we finally see it on the page. So that is the process, that exactly what we're going to learn. And so, and that's what is known as Vyakarana. So ni plus ti will become nayati, ni plus taha will become nayataha, ni plus anti will become nayanti, and this is the third person singular, dual, and plural forms. of ni, to lead or to carry. So it means he leads, nayati. Those two lead, nayataha. And they lead, nayanti. So that is the, those are the final forms. Then under that you have lot, which as we discussed means command, a request, an invitation. So when you say ni plus tu here, this tu is one pratyaya here, then you eventually you get nayatu, which means he should lead or he should carry. And this what you call prathama purusha, what we call as third person in English, doesn't actually only refer to he or she or it. It also refers to you. It also refers to you respectfully. So if I say nayatu, then nayatu doesn't only mean he should lead, he should carry, but it means you should lead, you should carry. May you lead, may you carry. So when I say prajam nayatu, that means you should lead the people. Okay, like that. So, and then you have, underneath that you have lang lakara. Lang lakara is our past tense that happened before today. So when I'm talking about something that happened yesterday and before, then that's called as lang lakara. And so here you have ta here. So when you combine ni with ta, eventually you're going to get anayat. You get this in the beginning to signify past tense, and anayat like that. That's what you're going to get. And so anayat prajam, that means he led the people, or you led the people, something like that. And then here you have it in the third person singular form for vidhiling. Vidhiling has the same meaning as lot actually. So it just means he or she or it should do something, or you should do something, or I'm inviting you to do something, or I'm commanding you to do something, like that. So when you mix it with it, then you're going to get nayet. Nayet eventually means let him lead, or may you lead, something like that. Nayet, or you should lead, or he should lead. So like that, you have all these different forms. So when you attach each one of these little pratyayas at the end of ni, you're going to get a different looking form, and that different looking form expresses a different tense, a different mood, a different person, first person, second person, third person, and a different number, which is singular, dual, and plural. Ekavachanam, dvivachanam, and bahuvachanam. So you have all these different things which are encapsulated into a single pratyaya. As soon as I say the pratyaya, for example, ite, which I'm circling right now, that one there, ite, as soon as I say that pratyaya, I know that it means the madhyama purusha dvivachana form in lat lakara, which means present tense, for whatever dhatu it is that I'm talking about. So each of these pratyayas inside it contains the lakara, that is the tense or the mood. It contains the person, and it contains the number. All of those are contained within a pratyaya. And the dhatu contains the meaning. It contains the content. It has the content of what you want to get across. So these pratyayas here are like vehicles for getting somebody to understand the content, and the dhatu is the content inside the vehicle that you want to deliver to the other person. So the pratyayas are what carry your word to the other person, and the dhatu is what finally embeds itself into the other person's mind to understand what it is you're trying to say. So, all right, so we've seen this. We already saw this before. I'm going to get rid of the marks I made. Excellent. Okay, so here we're back. So these are those ting pratyayas, what we just talked about. Ting. Okay. And here again, we have two columns here. The first column on the left side here is what's called as parasmai pada. Now, there is no translation for pada in English because we don't have this in English. We don't have a concept of parasmai pada and atmane pada in English. But in Sanskrit, traditionally, it means something like action which is done for others, which is parasmaipada, that's this, and action which is done for self, which is atmanepada, which is this. Oh, it's not circling it properly. Ah, there we go. That's the traditional meaning of this, but that distinction is kind of not as clear today as it was perhaps once. So you can say nayati for a dhatu that accepts all of these different pratyayas, both the parasmaipada and the atmanepada pratyayas. You could, like ni, for example, then you could say nayati, and you could equally say nayate. And we don't, so nayati is here and nayate is here, and we could equally say these. And the distinction between them in terms of what it means, like parasmaipada doing for others and atmanepada doing for self, that distinction is not very clear today when we speak. But when we read, maybe sometimes we can see that distinction a little more clearly. So on the note of padas, not every dhatu accepts the pratyayas for both padas. Some dhatus can only be expressed through parasmaipada, some dhatus can only be expressed through atmanepada, and some dhatus can be expressed through both. That's called ubhaya pada. Ubhaya, the word means both. So ubhaya pada means both padas here. So some dhatus are only parasmaipada, some dhatus are only atmane, and some dhatus are both parasmay and atmane. That's called ubhayapadi. So that is the note about padas there. Now here we have, how many pratyayas do we have? This is the number of pratyayas that we're going to be seeing. Ting pratyayas that we're going to be seeing in this class. And as I told you last week, the homework was to start to memorize these, so that when we get to using them fully, then you just have them in your head like they should be ready. Titaha anti sitha mi vahamaha te ite ante se ite dve evahe mahe. Like that, they should just be ready. You should know exactly what they are, where they stand in the chart. So maybe it'll help you to make a big chart of this. Take a big printout of this and put it in your room, stick it on the wall. When you wake up in the morning, you try. Okay, lat lakara, titaha anti sitha mi vaham. So maybe give that a try. And that'll help you in the future. And then you try lot lakara. Okay, tu tatam andu shunya tatam ta, like that. You should be able to say all these things. So okay, anyways, we'll come back to these later, but those are called ting pratyayas, and they are 9 in one pada for one lakara, and 9 in the other pada for the same lakara. So that makes 18 ting pratyayas for one lakara, 18 different forms, times 4 lakaras, and so those are, what's 18 times 4? 72. And then we have a couple of extra ones here, like this one, tat. There's tat in this place here. So that makes a total of 74 different pratyayas that we're going to be seeing. These are like optionally in that same place, but we'll talk about how that works later. So, so we have a total of 74 pratyayas that we need to know. Okay. Okay. Hari Om, everyone. If you can see and hear me, please raise your hand. Okay. I'm really sorry. What happened was that our power was fluctuating quite a lot, and finally it went down. And normally we have a generator that comes on automatically, but when the power fluctuates, then the generator doesn't know if it should come on or not. So we have to turn it on manual, but we were not able to do that in time. So then in order to get everything to start up again, it takes some time to boot everything back up from zero. So now it appears that everything is booted back up and working. So can you lower all the hands, and I'll ask one or two questions real quick. Okay, now we have two options here. One option is that we continue from where we left off and finish the class, but I don't know how much time we had left before the thing went out. I think it was something like 20 minutes or 25 minutes, something like that. Or the other option is that we stop it today and we do this again next week and continue next week. And I'm also not even sure if the recording was made, because it records on the cloud. So because we got totally cut off, so we are not entirely sure if the recording was made. So if you would like to continue now and go on for another 20 or 25 minutes or so, please raise your hand. Okay, that's about 30 people. And if you think we should do this again next week, then please raise your hand. Okay, so it's pretty equal. I think what we will do is I will upload notes for what I've said so far this week, and we will do this again next week, because I think this lag has kind of produced a sort of break in the thought flow of the class right now. So I think it's probably better if we do it again next week. So if this week got recorded, then we will put it up online also as week 10.5, something like that, so that it's not week 11 quite, but it's half of week 11. So we'll put it up as week 10.5, whatever got recorded. So you can have that to kind of revise. And and then next week what we'll do is we will do this again, a slightly faster recap, and then move forward next week. I think that's probably the wisest course of action for right now. So can you just open the chat real quick, please, Sridhar? Okay. Okay, go all the way down. Okay, so here's what I'll do. I'm just going to tell you again really quickly what we will do, and then I'll ask you a question. So what we will do is we'll end the class here for now. We'll say our concluding mantra and everything, and then we will upload whatever we had so far, if it's available, if it got recorded. We'll upload whatever we had as week number 10.5 in YouTube, and give you the link for that so you can revise and everything. And then we will continue next week from where we left off, if it got recorded. If it didn't get recorded, then we will start again this lecture next week. So if you are okay with that, please raise your hands. Okay, yeah, that's good, fine. So that means let us end now. We will say our concluding prayers, and then next week we will continue from where we left off if it got recorded. And if it didn't get recorded, then we will do this again. So not to worry, you won't miss any material or anything like that. But I think we need to take a break right now for some time. So pardon us for the slight mishap that happened, but we will continue again next week. So let's say our concluding prayers, and then okay, awesome. again, very sorry about the power issue. I guess sometimes, there are some things that are not in our control. So the best we can do is smile and say, okay, that's the situation right now. In the meantime, over here, because you guys were not tuned in, but in the meantime, over here, we sang some nice songs and bhajans and everything. So, so we had fun in the meantime. But thank you all for waiting so patiently. I hope you also did something constructive in the time that we lost. So let's conclude and smile, and then we'll meet again next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. And before we end the meeting, I want to actually, since we do have a couple of minutes and we're not otherwise doing the class, one tiny philosophical thing I'll tell you. And if it gets recorded and all that, it's wonderful, then it'll all get uploaded anyway. So this concluding mantra, what we do, Purnamada Purnamidam, I'll just tell you briefly what it means, since we've got some time and everybody's here real quick, and it's just 10, so I'll take 2 minutes and tell you what it is. Remember a couple weeks ago, I talked to you about the concept of Om, and the fact that Om is that underlying vibration that is the substratum for all other vibrations, and all of the vibrations, everything that we see in the universe, all of this stuff, what we think is material stuff, which are actually just vibrations, are resting on, or are, you can say, dependent upon that Om vibration for their very existence. And so after realizing this, the rishis started to discover these various mantras that explain the very nature of the universe. The very fabric of the universe is explained through these mantras. So this particular mantra, Om Purnamadaha, the reason why we say this one is this is also one of those revelations of the rishis. It's one of the corollaries. It's one of the sort of byproducts of the understanding that Om is underlying everything. What is it that they understood? Purnam. Purnam means complete, fulfilled, total, the whole. So Purnam actually refers to Om. So this mantra here is saying Purnam, the whole, or Om, which is everything. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. That is whole. Everything is complete. Everything which I see me outside, Purnamada, everything is complete. Everything is total. It is all, every little particle that I see is nothing but Om. And Om does not itself have any parts. And so everything is nothing but the whole. Purnamidam. Idam means this, that which is close to me, or what I consider to be as myself. I too, being part of this universe, am whole, am complete. I am nothing but Om. So this is like a declaration of the joy of the rishis at discovering that Om is at the center of everything. It's a declaration of wonder. Oh my God. Purnamadaha, Purnamidam. Everything is whole. That is whole. I am whole. We are all one. We are all Om. Purnamada, Purnamidam. Purnat, Purnamudachyate. That even when something is taken from something else and put in another place, suppose something dies, but there is a completeness in the death and also the rebirth, in the cyclical nature of the entire universe. So when something is taken from infinite, from Om, well, what can you possibly take other than Om? How can you break Om? You cannot break Om, because the thing which breaks it is also Om. And the space between it is also Om. Everything is Om. And so even when you take something from it, Purnat, even when you take from Om, Purnamudachyate. In fact, it's only completeness which you are moving here and there. It's all only completeness. Something like the Force in Star Wars, or the, you know, there's no way to be outside of it. So how can you ever break it? Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So when we do our offerings unto the Lord, actually it is only the Lord in this form, or I say the Lord because of my background, but let's say it's only Om. It is only Om in this particular form, which is offering prayers unto Om in whatever other particular form it's offering it to. Everything is nothing but Om. So even the one who does the prayer and the one to whom it is praying, and the prayer itself is nothing but Om. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. And at the end of everything, when everything is totally finished, because all things which are created in these forms must eventually also melt down into their original elements. When everything finally melts down and everything is finally totally removed, so to speak, Purnam eva avashishyate. That Purnam means completeness, eva means only, avashishyate remains. So in fact, that completeness, Om, is all that remains also. When all the particular vibrations merge back into Om, suppose you were to lose the whole universe in its particular forms, this desk, this light, that person, that camera, you suppose you were to lose everything in its particular form and bring it back down to its original vibration, Om, then what would remain? Only Om. And this declaration of joy of the rishis is, oh my gosh, there's nothing other than Om. There's nothing other than me, which is my identity is Om. In fact, everything is only me. And even when everything gets destroyed, including this body, which I always was conditioned to believe is me, even when this gets destroyed, then I still remain. I am still there. Om is still there. So, so let there be peace all around. What do we have to worry about? What do we have to fear? What do we have to hate? What do we have to be angry about? Om. That's that declaration. Om. Everything is Om alone. Om. Not home alone. Om alone. Om. Shanti. 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 Let there be peace. Let there be peace everywhere. And we say Shanti 3 times. They don't just say Shanti once. They say Shanti 3 times. For those of you who just joined right now and are seeing me in the middle of saying something, don't worry. We ended the class. I'm just explaining this Purnamadaha, and everything, as long as we have it saved, it'll all be uploaded on YouTube. If it was not saved, then we'll upload it later. I mean, we'll start again next week. So they say Shanti 3 times. So first they say Shanti. Let there be Shanti for everything all around me. First they're looking around and they say, wow, in wonder, everything is Om. Peace. Let there be peace for everybody. In fact, there is nothing but, it's not they're saying let there be peace, they're just saying there is nothing but peace everywhere. It's just an observation. Oh, there is Shanti. Ah, there is peace everywhere. Second Shanti, they say, and the forces which are controlling everything also are only at peace. At peace means they're complete, they're whole. What is there to lose or to gain or to die or to kill? Nothing like that. It's all anyway complete. Then they again look within and they say, and I too am at peace only. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This is called the Adi Bhautika. That means the universal stuff out there, the material world. That's the first Shanti, Adi Bhautika. Then you have Adi Daivika. That means the forces, the energy components that are the glue for all the material part of the world. And then Adhyatmika. That means the self. When I finally look back into myself and realize, well, there is nothing but Shanti here also. So it's a declaration of peace, a declaration of completeness, fulfillment, a declaration of joy, of wonder, that wow, everything is fulfilled. So we say it at the end of class, saying, even though this class is over, don't worry, Om alone remains. We will return. This class will again return one more time. It will be reborn next Sunday, and then again finish, and then again be reborn another Sunday. Everything is cyclical. So this declaration of peace we do every time because it reminds us that all of the study that we are doing, that study is not just for the sake of study. That study is for the sake of transforming our lives. It's for the sake of knowing that I am complete. It's for the sake of knowing that I alone am, and that I am nothing but that Om. So always keep that in mind when you are studying. The study of Sanskrit is not complete without this underlying philosophical knowledge. So that's why I'm also inserting that here and there so that you keep it with you. Anyway, so we'll upload it when we upload it, and if it was saved, and if it's not saved, then not to worry. We'll do this again next week. So for now, just shanti, shanti, shanti. Stay cool, stay happy, stay smiling. All is well. Okay, Hari Om, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for those of you who were so patient to wait until we came back. So I hope that the explanation of Purnamada is a sufficient reward for staying, and I will see you all again next week. Hari Om, everyone.